This is step one of the newspaper method to combine two beehives, one of which is hopelessly queenless, the idea being that this newspaper provides a barrier so that the bees will slowly chew through it and will then mix together without fighting and killing each other and essentially killing the one queen that remains. So what we're doing here is providing lots of little holes with the pin from the pin cushion through the newspaper, and this allows the scent and the pheromones of the queen and the brood to travel up to the queenless brood box. So as you can see here, we've got a setup of the flow hive on the left and the traditional Langstroth hive on the right. The Langstroth hive on the right has the queen in it, the flow hive on the left does not. Now ordinarily a beekeeper might want to actually put the flow hive on top of the Langstroth hive. The problem here is I want to keep the flow hive as the main beehive, so we're actually doing it the other way around, which didn't in the end end up with more dead bees being rejected. So here I've taken off the super and put the lid on so no bees can escape. I've then taken off the brood box and put the crown board on there, so again they don't all escape, and I've shaken off any excess bees that are left on the bottom tray, although they do need a bit of an extra brush off with the bee brush. The next move after the brush off with the bee brush is then to lift the brood box with the queen in it and pop it onto the base. Again, someone might do this the other way around and I understand why, but in this case we're keeping it this way so that I can use the flow hive for the rest of the season. And any excess bees that are left on the bee board, I'm just leaning that against the hive so that they can crawl in, fly in at their leisure. The crown board obviously is still on the Langstroth, so we're getting the newspaper ready to lay it out. So I'm doing 2 sheets thick. Because of the length of time that the other colony has been queenless, I want to give it as slow merge as possible because they have already killed one queen that I tried to introduce. One thing to note here is that the queen and the brood from the brood box used to be part of this hive. It swarmed 3 to 4 weeks prior to merging together using the newspaper method. So here I'm just laying it on top of the brood box so that the bees can't escape straight into the other colony. And like I said, there's those little holes in there which allow the pheromones and the scent of the bees and the larvae and the brood to come through the newspaper. And it might even be able to, over time or at the very beginning, the bees might actually even be able to touch each other and pass that scent through so they don't all seem like foreigners. The brood box then gets placed on top with the other hive, the lid comes off, queen excluder should stay on or go back on because you don't want, once they do merge, you don't want your queen coming up and getting into your super. And then the flow super is going back on, trying to avoid any sort of bee squishage. What I didn't anticipate here is that the skirt of newspaper was a bit of an issue because it rained heavily, so I then had to come out when they've all calmed down and cut it off. Putting the lid on backwards, the roof on backwards as usual, my usual trick. And then you leave the hive for about a week, just for everything to settle down, for the queen to hopefully be accepted and the hives to merge. Here's me explaining to Kate now that any bees flying back who are out foraging for the day, who are in the original hive, queenless hive, they'll come in and either be killed by the guard bees or they will beg for mercy and to be let into the hive. Sometimes with foragers they're allowed in because they're carrying pollen and food and such things, so they're not seen as a threat, they're not coming to rob, they're actually coming to bring resources. And like I said, didn't have much problem with dead bees all around the hive. And then a few days later, this is what was in the pest tray, just a load of mulchy, chewed through newspaper. A week later, this is where we came to see whether the queen had been accepted, whether the hives had been successfully combined, and that all was well. So we're just now going through the usual process of cracking the hives, lifting everything off, putting your super on the floor. The flow hive super lifter is fairly redundant now in this process because it's a 2-box setup. So it's taking off the queen excluder, taking off the top brood box and importantly putting the queen excluder back on, because if you're looking for the presence of a queen and you start checking the top brood box without that, she might just go straight down into the bottom brood box, so you've got no chance of finding her in that top one anyway. Top brood box back on, and then it's going through checking for the presence of the queen. Is she there? Is she still alive? Checking frame by frame, does everything look healthy? And actually, even though I didn't find her straight away, there were definite signs that she'd been successful. There were lots of a brood pattern, eggs, larvae. And like I said, this was hopelessly queenless, so there was no brood in this brood box prior to combining the hives. So instantly it was obvious that she'd been accepted and that had been successful. And then the second to last frame, or third to last frame, we managed to find the queen. And the lighting, because of due to where the sun is pretty poor here, but I've tried to indicate where she is and where she's walking around. And so we just go around checking the rest of the hive until we find this interesting thing, which is actually a wasp in the middle of the brood box trying to rob. And every now and then a bee keeps trying to pull at it, but it's so much bigger that it keeps pushing it off. So I try and give it a hand rather unsuccessfully. And then they fall, having a fight on the floor. That's at least got rid of the wasp. So then it just becomes a case of checking the bottom brood box, checking everything's okay down there, checking the combs being drawn out, the colony's happy and healthy, and it's full of bees and everything looks perfectly fine. So I'm fairly confident now that I can enjoy the rest of the beekeeping year as we go through summer and the nectar flow and the honey flow is on. As always, thank you for watching. We'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe, especially if we're still below 1,000 subscribers and it continues to do videos like this and any other that you may be interested in. Thank you for watching.